Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC on a Thursday where nothing is happening. However, it is Independence Day, so congratulations to the American brethren. Hope you're enjoying your day, having yourselves good times with your families, and staying safe, whatever it is you're partaking in. There's no real news around Liverpool at the moment. There is a bit of growing noise about Rayan Nouri, but nothing from the local patch journalists in terms of a move. Some hints that we may have sat down and talked to George Mendes, but we'll wait and see if there's any real truth to all of that. So today, because I'm bored of waiting. I'm not bored to the point where I'm going to go on social media and have myself a big cry about the lack of moves thus far, because it is July 4th. And the transfer window has, 8 more weeks? But I'm bored enough that I'm going to start going through other leagues, team by team, and seeing, is there a player at that club that I'd like us to sign? Now, I'm going to try and be as realistic as possible. So, for example, with the Premier League, with our rivals, not going to pick their best or second best player, someone that they're definitely not going to be willing to move on from. But maybe a player that they would be willing to sell. And we'll work from there. So we go alphabetically and we will start with Arsenal Football Club. So, look, we can rule out the Odegaards of this world, the Sakas of this world. I assume Martinelli is off limits as well. But one player I would take, now, I don't think we'd look at him because of his injury history, but I really like Emile Smith-Rowe. And I think as a 10 or a left-sided attacker, I think he could be really, really good. So we'll go with him from Arsenal. I think he's a really good player that Arteta has massively underused. And I think he's somebody that, in the number 10 position under Slot, could be quite interesting. Aston Villa, they're not a rival. They sit below us in the food chain, a couple of levels below us, despite their top 4 finish this past season. They have a couple of very interesting players, but despite the fact that he's got a torn ACL and won't be back until probably November, I still think Boubacar Kamara makes all the sense in the world for us. I think he's an elite-level defensive midfielder. He can also play centre-back. He can play full-back. He's a natural leader. He was first made captain of Marseille at the age of 17 and captained them kind of on and off sporadically through his time at the club. I think he's really, really good. And I think he fits well into what we want to do. So I'd go with him for Villa. I do think he's a realistic possibility as well. If we decided to make a move, I think he's one that they would look, not to move on from, but they would be open to selling at the right price. And I think that price would be steep. It'd be, 60 million-ish, which is why it's such a big risk with him coming off a torn ACL. But the fact that they got him for nothing, he would go on to their books as pure profit. And they've just signed a new defensive midfielder, Balanchea, the Argentine, who's Similar style, similar type of player, not as good, probably been brought in to be the backup. But if they could lump Boubacar Kamara onto their books this year as 60 million of pure profit, it would allow them a lot more flexibility with their spending on the season as well, with the way you can amortize things. Bournemouth. I really like Alex Scott, but I think Milos Kerkez is the one I would look at. Now, I know I have been a proponent of buying a more defensive left-back, but if we're being linked with Aït-Nouri, maybe we are looking at the more attack-minded route. And Kerkez is really good, so I'd look at him. Failing that, Alex Scott is really, really good, but Kerkez will be the one. Brentford. They've got some interesting players, but there's not a whole lot there that looks like it would move the needle for a club like ourselves. I suppose if we wanted someone to come in and be a backup to Mo, Brian Mbeumo would make sense. Is Mbeumo willing to move and be a backup, though? And that's probably questionable, given his age. Like, he is 24, he'll turn 25 in August. But he's a very good player. And he does, according to Sam Maguire, fit the metrics. So you'd probably look at him. I really like Aaron Hickey as well. But he is injury prone. He misses chunks of pretty much every season. He's had one season in his career where he hasn't missed at least 10 games through injury. So you'd probably pass on him. I do like Rico Henry as well, but I'm not sure he's good enough to be a starter for a club like ourselves. I like Vitaly Arnold. Again, he's not quite good enough to be a starter for us. And I like Norgard, but he'd be a backup for us. He's not a starter for a club like us. He's basically, I think, a slightly better version of Endo. Not good enough to be a starter, but a solid squad player. Brighton have absolutely loads of players that I love. The one I'd move for is Enciso. I think that kid would be spectacular, playing as a 10 behind Darwin, with Dom on the left, Mo on the right. But he is coming back off a huge injury. Therefore, it's probably not a move that we'd pursue until he's shown a bit more and gotten himself up to a decent level. If Darwin were to leave, João Pedro could make an awful lot of sense for us as a 9. Stylistically, there's quite a lot of similarity between him and Santiago Jimenez in that he's like a 9.5. He can score, he can create, he's quick, skillful. I think he's going to be a really good player. Still only 22. I'd be shocked if he's not the starting Brazil number 9 by the time the World Cup rolls around. I still like Matoma, but he is now coming off quite a serious injury. He's 27. I just don't see that being a move we'd make. Idingra is a really interesting player. He's a lot of fun to watch. He's only 22. He had a good first season in the Premier League last year. I'd like to see another season, though, before we'd make that move. But if we were to go and get him, you certainly wouldn't be too upset about it. Very, very good player. I like Baliba as well, but he needs at least one more year in the Premier League. We're doing last year's Premier League group, so we'll do Burnley next. And there's only really 2. Well, there's actually 3. But 2 of them played the same position and are both prospects rather than kind of ready-made. Luka Koleosho and Wilson Odobert, the 2 wingers, they're both really, really exciting players. Koleosho was in great form before he got hurt last year. Odobert was at Troyes. He's super talented, and he can play as a 10 or a left winger. I'd probably lean towards him, given Koleosho's coming back from quite a serious injury. I really like Maxime Esteve, the left-footed centre-back they brought in January. They've now made that a permanent deal. I think he would fit as the left-back in a back 4 if you wanted a progressive passing option from that position that could slide into a back three, that centre-back type of left-back. 6'4", he's good in the air, he's quick, very comfortable with the ball, good passer, only just turned 22. He's definitely one that I think would be worth at least inquiring about. I think they've paid 12 million to make that deal permanent. They'd probably sell him straight away for 20. And at that price, he doesn't need to come in and be an automatic starter. Chelsea. Wow. Look at the size of that squad. It is obscene how many footballers they currently own. Absolutely obscene. And they've got other players lined up to come in the future. It's just a disaster. Like, they've got no earthly idea what they're doing there. Look, the obvious one is Moises. They're not going to sell us Moises. Cole Palmer is the name most people would go to. They're never going to sell us Cole Palmer. I love Enzo. Alexis the 10, Enzo in a double pivot with a defensive midfielder I would take all day, but they're not going to sell him. I take Trevoh Chalobah. Can be a backup 6, can be a backup centre-back, can also play right-back, can flip into a back 3 very easily. I take Chalobah as a backup centre-back. I don't think they'd sell us Colwell, which is why I haven't gone for him. I don't think he's going to be for sale. So for the purpose of building a squad, I'd take Trevoh Chalobah. The wing young player there that I do think could be gettable and would be a really good addition. You could play Alexis as the 10 and bring this guy in, and he would fit that Quinton Timber role that we saw in last year's Feyenoord team. And that's Andre Santos, the Brazilian. He is immensely talented. And Chelsea seem to have no idea what to do with him because they've bought all the midfielders. Like, you look at their squad, right? Midfielders, Enzo Fernandez, Leslie Ogochukwu, Carney Chukwuemeka, Conor Gallagher, Moises Caicedo, Cesare Caicedo, Romeo Lavia, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, Andre Santos. And if you want to include players that play the 10 or want to play the 10, Cole Palmer, Christopher Nkunku. It's foolishness. Tino Angelin. Mental. Absolutely mental how they've gone about building that squad. But Andre Santos is a really interesting one. Super dynamic midfielder. Not a 6, he's a box-to-box 8. But he's very, very talented. So, him from Chelsea, without question. Crystal Palace, the best of the bunch is Elise, but he's obviously going to Bayern. Adam Wharton is the one for me. I really like Eze. I really like Wehi. I really like Doucouré, but he's coming back off a torn Achilles, which is always cause for concern. Adam Wharton. Push Alexis into the number 10 position. Adam Wharton comes in. You play him next to a dynamic ball winner. And Wharton just runs the game from midfield from you. He'd be the one for me. Someone like Andre Santos would actually be ideal next to an Adam Wharton. You wouldn't have that traditional defensive midfielder, but I think the balance would be really good. Diev. Now, look, they wouldn't sell us anybody, is my guess, but the obvious one is Onana. Without doubt, the obvious one is Onana. Just, you put him into him and Wharton would be unbelievably good. Like, him roaming around and just smashing people and Wharton just sitting in midfield and running the show would be a near perfect balance for a double pivot. Fulham, not the most exciting of squads. It's looking like a hard pass on most of these. I'd still take João Palhinha, but he is going to Bayern. I'm not an Anthony Robinson fan, I have to say. He's solid, but no. Luke Harris, the young Welsh midfielder, he's actually from Jersey, but he plays for the Welsh national team. Luke Harris is the one from Fulham. Luton, this might be a hard pass, although if we just wanted a backup left back who could get forward, overlap, swinging crosses, I mean, you do worse than Alfie Doughty. He's only 24. And he is a very, very good crosser of the ball. I quite liked what I saw of Ted and Menji last year. He's still a little bit raw. He's only 22, though. Ted and Menji's probably the one. We'll go with him. Unless my Irish bias brings me Chidozie Ogbonne, but he's a bit too limited even for me. But he's very, very quick. We'll go with Ted and Menji just for the crack. City. Right.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, how to get 30, how to get 20, 20, 20, how to get 20, 20, how to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
He would be good, but I think he's only 28, 29 now. Aki is 29. They wouldn't sell us Gvardiol. They wouldn't sell us Rodri, obviously. They wouldn't sell them to anybody, let alone us. They wouldn't sell Haaland. I do like Maximo Perrone. He was out on loan last year, but he's not quite ready. Do you know who I'd spend a big bowl of money on is Julian Alvarez. I really like Julian Alvarez. I think he's super intelligent, super consistent. Like, you look at the numbers for him. I was talking to somebody about him the other day. Over the last 6 seasons, so his first season he breaks through, he plays 731 minutes, 3 goals and 4 assists. The next season, he played 1,734 minutes, 9 goals and 6 assists. Then he has his real breakout year. He becomes first choice at River Plate. 3,277 minutes, 24 goals and 15 assists. 24 goals and 15 assists. I think he's a bit taller than the listed 5'7" as well. I think he's more like 5'9", but that's by the by. The next season then, he scores 18 goals and has 6 assists in 2,157 minutes in a half season because he leaves to join City in July. And remember, the South American season runs as a calendar year. It doesn't cross over. Then he joins City. Off the back of having already played a full half season, plays 2,526 minutes for them, has 17 goals and 5 assists. So he played 4,690 minutes, thereabouts. 35 goals, 11 assists. And remember, in the middle of that year, he went off to the World Cup as well. And then this past season, largely overlooked, 3,481 minutes, 19 goals and 13 assists. 19 goals and 13 assists, and seemed to fly completely under the radar that he'd done this. And I remember saying on a couple of scouted pods before City games that City worry me more when it's Alvarez up front, playing against us, when it's Alvarez up front than Haaland, because I think Alvarez's movement, his intelligence and his ability to knit things together is just much more threatening than what Haaland offers. And I looked at that number, that 19 goal number, and thought, well, did he stat pad with a load of penalties or... No. He only took 2 penalties last season. He took 2 the year before. So in his 2 seasons with City, he's got 32 non-penalty goals and 18 assists in 2 years. That's incredibly impressive for a lad coming over from South America. No bedding in season, just straight into the mix. Phenomenal. Now, we have Darwin as a 9, and unless Darwin were to leave and Arnie were to go back to playing a 4-3-3 and look to use it like Klopp did with a false 9 and 2 goal-scoring wingers, I think he'd be a number 10 for us if we signed him. So I thought, well, I'll look this up and see how many games he played as a number 10 in his career. 49. 49 games. 20 goals and 15 assists. As a 10. Imagine adding that into our team. Alexis and a DM, Alvarez is the 10, Salah right, Sabo left, and Darwin up front. That's pretty spectacular. He's never been injured either, ever. He's missed 1 game in his career, it was through an illness. And I like really smart players, and I like winners. I like players that know how to win, have been around winning, have been involved in winning. Now, Julian Alvarez is 24, doesn't turn 25 till January. He's won an Argentine Premier Division, a Copa Libertadores, 2 Premier Leagues, a Champions League, a World Cup, a Copa America, though admittedly he did only make 1 appearance as a sub for like 40 minutes. But he was still in and around that squad. He was in and around Lionel Messi. And he's now a vital part of the Argentine team at this Copa America. Like, everybody talks about the last World Cup, how the changes in midfield, bringing in Alexis and Enzo, were the key. But it was also bringing in Alvarez. Lautaro Martinez came into that tournament on fire at club level, wasn't performing, and Scaloni made the decision to drop him and bring in Alvarez. And that was vital to them as well. I would take Julian Alvarez at Liverpool 100%. And people talk about 80 million for Anthony Gordon, and it blows my mind. Anthony Gordon's a 40 to 45 million pound player. I would pay 80 million for Julian Alvarez without a second thought. Absolutely. A proven winner, super intelligent, versatile, can play 9, 10, both wings or in midfield. High technical level. His ball striking ability is incredible. Go and watch a reel of his goals and just watch how crisply he strikes the ball. We always talk about Jota and the placement of his shots. Go and watch Alvarez's. Very, very similar. Very, very similar. But he offers more in the all-round game. And I think him as a 10, knitting things together, would be really, really effective under Arne Slot. Sign all the Argentines. Bring in Varela, Alvarez, Sula as the long-term successor to Mo, and then figure out the defence with other nationalities, because there isn't an Argentine defender that I'd want. Anyway, Julian Alvarez is the one from City. Manchester United. Again, I don't think they'd sell us anybody. this won't be popular. I'd take Rashford in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even need to think about it. I'd absolutely take him. I know he's 27 later this year. Rashford is an immense footballer. He's had 2 bad seasons from the last 8 years. One of them, he played through a whole bunch of injuries the year before, had a couple of surgeries and wasn't quite ready to go. Then he bounced back, had an unbelievable year last year. That spell he had before and after the World Cup, he was just on a different level. This past season, he was awful. That's why I'd buy him in the dip. I would buy him in the dip and back that he bounces back to his best level. I think he's really good. Lisandro Martinez, I know I make fun of him and call him a gnome. It's because he's not good enough as a centre-back to play for a top club. But as a left-back, that could be interesting. I would take Garnacho and just buy more Argentinians. If they were open, but I know we were linked with Garnacho at one point when it looked like he wasn't going to sign a new deal at United. Like, I don't know, if you want Anthony Gordon, why wouldn't you want Garnacho? Like, Garnacho is a more talented version of the same player who has outperformed Anthony Gordon over the past 2 Premier League seasons. He's got a goal or assist every 207 minutes. Gordon has one every 202 minutes. Gordon has one every 207 minutes. He's every bit as quick. He's every bit as direct. He's just as good a finisher. He creates as many chances. Not as many big chances, but big chances is a very strange metric. I would take Garnacho, who, by the way, was doing that at ages 18 and 19. He's just turned 20. Gordon turned 23 in February. He's 3.5 years older than Garnacho, and Garnacho has outproduced him over the last 2 years, playing under Eric Ten Hag, by the way. So, yeah, Garnacho. If I could have one player from there, it'd probably be him. But I don't think I don't think they're going to be willing to sell him anytime soon. And Rashford, I do think they're open to selling, but again, probably not to us. The tune, Guimaraes and Isak are the two. Without question, Guimaraes and Isak are the two. They're the 2 best players there. I do really like Lewis Hall. I do really like Livramento. But Guimaraes would be one. You'd have to move Alexis to the 10, and you still have to buy your defensive midfielder. But I'd take him. Isak, I think if we could all... I reckon if you polled the Liverpool fan base and said, look, Darwin is going, we're buying a striker. It's not going to be Haaland, but you can have anybody else you want. I reckon he would poll the most votes. I think it'd be him then Osman. I think Osman's slightly better at the moment, but I would probably lean towards him as well. The issue with him is there are some injury concerns, but he only missed 8 Premier League games this past season. 21 goals in 30 games is fucking impressive. Nottingham Forest, there's a couple here. Morgan Gibbs-White as a 10. He's outstanding. Danilo, again, you'd be moving Alexis into the 10. He's more your Ginny Wijnaldum, is Danilo. So you buy it 6 and him. And if you're going to play 2 attacking left-backs, like if we were to sign Aït-Nouri, that might be the best option. So you go Trent, Ibu, Virgil, Aït-Nouri, holding midfielder, defensive 8 type, Mo, Alexis, Dominic, and then Darwin. And Danilo would be that defensive 8 type. He can also get forward and he can involve himself in the final third. He's really, really good. I'd take him. And the other Brazilian there, Murillo, would definitely take him as the left back, centre back. I think he could play that role. I had my doubts, but the more I watch of him, I think he could play that role and do it very, very well. And we were linked with him before he went to Forest, so I do think there's probably interest there. He's a hell of a passer of the ball. Like, he's an outrageously good passer of the ball. Of all the players that we've been linked with for that role, I don't think we've been linked with anyone that passes the ball as well as him. Sheffield United. Christ. I'd probably take Vinny Sosa as a short-term fix. But a team that conceded that many goals, I just don't want to go anywhere near. So I'm just going to say Vinny Sosa and all the rest can go away. Spurs, they've just signed the guy you would want in Archie Gray. And it pisses me off that we didn't go and get him. That is one hell of a player. He'd be the one. They're not going to sell him now, obviously. They're not going to sell him anytime soon. So you're going to have to wait for him. In which case, I mean, I really like Van de Ven, and he'd fit that left-back role, though he's not as good on the ball as maybe you'd want. I'd take Pape Matar Sarr, without doubt. He's really, really good. I'd take Pape Matar Sarr. He'd be the one from Spurs. West Ham, Mohamed Kudus is the obvious pick. There's no reason to overthink it. It's just Mohamed Kudus, and you move on. You send Luis Diaz wherever, and you bring in Kudus if you have the chance to. He needs to improve his output, no doubt, but that's a very special talent. Wolves. I mean, Aït-Nouri is obvious. I just can't get past my love of Pedro Neto and the idea of Pedro Neto as a left winger for us. Just absolutely rinsing fullbacks left and right. Yeah, I'm just going to go with Pedro Neto. Right, let's quickly go around the main Liverpool websites. This is Anfield. Why Liverpool should beat Arsenal to Ricardo Calafiore transfer, written by Sam Milne. He'd be a great addition. Now, I do wonder if what's put us off is the injuries. I do wonder if that's where we're looking at and thinking, right, we're not going to take that risk. But he is an absolutely tremendous player. And it'll be a great get for Arsenal if they're the ones that land him. If we don't sign him, I just hope he goes to Juve. He wants to go to Juve by all accounts. He's very that's the club he kind of had picked. So we'll see what happens. Liverpool have allowed Jakub Orzinski to head out on trial to secure a move elsewhere. He's gone to GKS Katowice in Poland. He's one of two goalkeepers currently on trial. They've just been promoted to the top flight. I suppose it makes sense, you know? It doesn't look like he's going to make the grade, so you might as well send him out on loan, or send him out permanently, and a move home is probably what he wants. So, yeah, fair. Right, 14 players who will miss the start of pre-season. Gomez, Trent, Virgil, Gravenberch, Gakpo, Kanate, and Jota. Alisson, Darwin, Diaz, and Alexis. Robbo, Dominic, and Yaros apparently will miss the first few days of pre-season. They're probably going to be back in about 2 weeks' time by the sounds of things. So yeah, all makes sense. Moving on, what else have you got for us here? There's a piece about Roy Evans. Alisson sets up clash with Darwin. Uruguay taking on Brazil in the quarterfinals. Ronald Koeman has explained how to use dangerous Cody Gakpo in his best role. I don't think we'll take any sort of tactical advice from Ronald Koeman, given he is absolutely woeful. But, you know, fair play. Liverpool There's a piece about, Liverpool legend retired early before inventing world's most popular football boot. So it's the Adidas Predator. Craig Johnston, obviously, former Red, an absolute genius, came up with the idea of the Predator. And, I mean, the results speak for itself. Incredible. Romano spoofing, according to Anfield Watch. Murillo admits Anfield move would be good opportunity. Okay. Ex-Manchester United star makes impassioned plea to Jurgen Klopp. Come rescue our team before it's too late. I assume this is Tim Howard and the US men's national team who crashed out of the Copa America, and it was quite embarrassing for them, losing to Panama and such. So I assume that's what that is. There is talk that Gareth Southgate is going to play a back three for England, which has led to speculation that Trent could come in and play as a right wing back with Bukayo Saka as a left wing back, and in a back three of Walker, Stones and Ezri Konsa, with Mark Whitey obviously suspended. On to AnfieldIndex.com. Journalist, Liverpool dropped 2 targets. Let's have a look. Didi Hamann, Bayern star could join Liverpool. Let's have a look. It was Tim Howard on the US men's national team. It's Joshua Kimmich. No, he won't be joining us, thankfully enough. Let's see. This is an article based on what Ben Johnson said. Well, Ben Jacobs, rather. So we'll just close that and pretend it's not there. Danger, Ben. Report, high wages and injuries hinder ex-Liverpool players. So Joel Matip seemingly struggling to find a new club. He's got a torn ACL, so I assume he might actually sit out half the season and then sign for somebody. Didi Hamann also said that Ficha Kvaratskhelia is somebody that we should be targeting. It's good to see that Didi ranged from the stupidity of the Kimmich statement to the nailed-on fact of the Kvaratskhelia claim. Podcast-wise, there's not a whole lot going on. There's a lot of me. So you've got your Daily Reds. You've got Two Footed, which you can listen to on EPL Index. You've got on EPL Index as well, and on Anfield Index Pro, the Daily Euros show with myself and Carl. So check those out. We had a recent Buzz podcast on Mississippi Burning, so go listen to that. And we have a couple more actually in the pipeline to be recorded. Hopefully one to be recorded tomorrow, and they'll be with you soon. So yeah, there we go, folks. I will see you all tomorrow, and I might pick a different league and go club by club. Maybe pick Serie A, La Liga, one of them, and go club by club as well. Might just do that for all the big leagues, because what else am I going to talk about in the dog days of summer? Take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Sports Social Podcast Network.